This is wild rice, the Ojibwe call it manolan. A long time ago, the Ojibwe lived in the east, but the Creator told them they had to leave and go back to their original homeland, here in the Great Lakes.
Well, then they kept migrating back until they were told, you're going to find your homeland when you find this food that grows at the top of the water, and here's that wild rice.
Peter David is a wild rice scientist with Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission.
Wild rice requires several different things to grow. It needs shallow water, so about 1/2 foot to 3 foot in depth. It needs flowing water, so you find it on rivers where there's shallow bays. You find it on flowages, which are impoundments where rivers have been dammed to create little lakes. Or you find it on natural lakes that have water flowing in and out of them, rivers or streams that flow in and out.
Many tribal members here at LCO eat wild rice. They don't use a big machine to gather the rice. They do it the old-fashioned way.
They go out in a lake there, and one has to pull and one has to knock it down. And they get their canoe filled, they come into the shore and they put it out on a kind of tarp and dry it. And when after it's dry, they put it in a container to cook it, and then they thrash it.
They put it in a window basket, they shake it, and the wind separates the rice from its shell. Not only people eat wild rice.
Well, there's a lot of animals that really like wild rice, and they feed on different parts of it. It's sort of famous as a duck food. Many different kinds of species of ducks like to feed on wild rice seed. Geese feed on it very heavily. Trumpeter swans feed on it very heavily. Muskrats will eat the shoots and will also build their houses out of it. Deer come down and will actually walk into the rivers and feed on wild rice. And then there's other species that come in sometimes and feed on the things that are feeding on the wild rice. So you might get eagles and birds of prey that'll come in and try to feed on the ducks and all the other things that are attracted to the rice. So rice beds are really vibrant biological communities.
There are many threats to wild rice. Changes in water level, carp, invasive species, and big motorboats that rip up the rice. All of this leads to poor water quality.
If the water gets too dark, too turbid, which means there's a lot of sediment maybe stirred up into the water column, that can be a big problem because then the sunlight can't penetrate through the water to get the seeds to germinate in the spring. So you need to have pretty good water quality, and if that water quality deteriorates, you might lose your rice bed too.
So to protect the wild rice, we should be careful where we use our motorboats. We should not dump garbage or chemicals. We should protect the wild rice because it led us back to our homeland. It made us strong and happy. It's the food that grows on water.
Way